we've been talking about PvP and some of the issues with PvP. And one thing I hear often is that, like, yeah, Blizzard doesn't care about PvPers. But I don't think that it is Blizzard doesn't care about PvPers thing. I think there's just some issues with the game. And yeah, some of those issues are becoming more glaring, I guess. Like, it's becoming more obvious as time goes on. So I curiously, I saw a video by Bellular, and he was talking about, I'll actually just show you guys the video here. So the title of this video is Mythic Plus is unfixable and it's tearing WoW apart. So I thought, as a PvPer, maybe it'd be fun to see what's going on in PvE. You know, what are people complaining about in Mythic Plus? Because we always act like we're, you know, so disenfranchised as PvPers and PvE is getting all the love, but maybe it's not true.
Yes, everyone, you read it right. It's unfixable. Its biggest problem simply cannot be solved, but I'm actually not being a doomer. I've come to realize that's great news, both for key pushers and dungeon dodgers, because nobody's happy, and we finally see it. Across this season, we have seen hours of videos from big names. It started with Automatic Jacks, Blizzard needs to rethink Mythic Plus. Then there was Quasi's, why Mythic Plus is not fun right now. And then there was Liquid Max's, it's time to rework Mythic Plus, and a PoddyC episode called Is Mythic Plus Dying? That's literally hours of discussion over the biggest issues facing the game mode. Affixes,
that sounds like me and Supatees making videos.
Spec imbalance, difficulty.
Can I turn the volume up a little bit? Sure. Yep. Let's do it.
And that's just to name a few. Now, these doomsayers are all World of Warcraft elite. They're key pushers, they're mythic raiders. So it could be easy for people who aren't that to think, oh, it's just top-end complaints. They don't apply. But nah, they're right. They do apply. Just not always directly. I've came to realize the whole system is inherently flawed, and I think it's actually an opportunity for Blizzard, an amazing one, not to fix Mythic Plus, but to embrace that it's broken right now and to solve the entire thing. So,
I don't know, I don't know what he was saying there.
Today, we're going to explain that, and you're going to help me pay the
I can't wait for you to explain it.
Ads with today's sponsor, who I'm absolutely thrilled to say are Ridge. Look, I use my Ridge key case every single day, and I've been using it since like a year ago, before we even had a deal with them. I love it. It's one of those upgrades that you actually feel every single day of your life, and right now, their holiday deals are actually on. They're up to 40% off, and that makes them such an easy gift to give. So here is the key case, right? It is slim, it is light, it is durable, it holds 6 keys. It keeps them together under the perfect amount of tension. You know what that means? You've got no key jangle, right? You don't have a key sticking into your leg in your pocket. There's a nice little clip in the back. It is so good. And also, I put my keys into it with a specific order and orientation, and that means that I always select the right key when I go to a door. And that's just one of life's nice little things. And then, of course, there is the Ridge wallet. Now, this thing's awesome. RFID blocking, light, hyper-functional, and now they've even got a MagSafe compatible version, and there's even an AirTag holder as well. And the point is, right? I mean, this is the best wallet, like hands down. Ridge's range of attachments as well let you just customize the wallet to your
Maybe I'll get one of those.
The colorways that they have for all of their products look flipping gorgeous. And what I love about them is they're the perfect gift, because after using mine, well, I bought my dad one on Father's Day, and I bought him his Christmas presents as well. They're awesome. Up to 40% off using my link. And they're actually so confident that they give a 99-day money-back guarantee and a lifetime warranty. So when you buy, you know you're actually going to be supported. Check them out. They're awesome. Okay, what's wrong? Well, obviously it's...
All right, cool. We'll go back to normal speed.
A lot, and it starts with the first step, deciding what to do. You see, delves cover early gearing in World of Warcraft faster than ever, so you'll probably only want to, like, go into a mythic...
What is this? Harbinger track, upgrade, crafting, champ, I don't know what I'm looking at right now. So I think a lot of people are doing delves early on, basically. For people that want to gear, they do delves early. So people don't really do low mythic plus.
Plus like 6 or 7, right? And beyond.
This looks way too complicated. I'm not gonna lie. What is this? Like, even I'm someone who plays WoW all the time. I look at this, I'm like, what? What are we talking about?
You won't have a key to start with, and starting a group is scary, especially if you're only beginning. So the obvious thing is to join a group. That kind of can't be done for most people. I mean, often you can't get into a group, at least not right away. It could take all evening, and it actually got so bad.
It looks complicated, but it's not. It's an eyesore, but once you play the content, it's not really that bad. Okay.
That there were in-game protests over just
I remember these protests.
A key to do. Theoretically, those were aimed at Blizzard's class balance, but the deeper truth is people were protesting each other. Right? Players are only interested in inviting meta specs, but there's a reason there. It does mean, though, that if you play something that isn't a meta spec, your acceptance rate just plummets. And the same goes if...
This is a Mythic Plus unique class population. So it shows like certain specs are just garbanzo beans, I guess. What is a protest group? I guess just in all it was, I'm pretty sure all it was just people listing in Group Finder. So there's in Group Finder listing as like a protest, just clogging it up and making it annoying.
If you're playing a DPS as well, right? Very few people are interested in playing tanks or healers at the end of the day, and for good reason. They do at least twice the work of a DPS. And even if you make your own group to skip the whole invite phase...
Let's see what... Okay. So DPS need to DPS, tanks need to DPS, and healers need to DPS. Everyone needs to interrupt, everyone needs to avoid damage, everyone needs to use personal defensives, and then DPS need to do shared mechanics. Everyone needs to do shared mechanics, and then tanks... You have to route the dungeon, make sure you're holding threat, do all the tank mechanics, and position the mobs. You have to keep everyone alive, manage your mana, healer mechanics, and dispel debuffs. Yeah, they're doing twice the work. Well, not twice, but yeah.
Do at least twice the work of a DPS. And even if you
Hold threat is a silly thing to put on there. Yeah, maybe it's not that hard. It's something you have to think about, though. Okay. Manage bandits. Okay, maybe you guys get the point, though. Maybe not all of these are... But it is true. You got to do more work and have more responsibility.
If you make your own group to skip the whole invite phase, you're sat there waiting on a tank or healer anyway. And the problem is worse again if you're actually doing keys that are appropriate for your Mythic Plus score or your gear level, and you're trying to improve yourself, because somebody who eclipses your score and item level will always take your spot.
That's true, actually. That's 100% true. Like, if you have someone that signs up to your group that's 11, it's just like in PvP. If somebody signs your group that has like 1,500 experience and then someone signs up with 2K experience getting in 100% of the time.
So you either suck it up and you play a meta spec, you learn to tank, you learn to heal, or you get lucky and finally it's time to play. Or should I say, to roll the dice, because you might get a dream run, that'll go well, but it might just be hell. The tank pulls the first pack, but no kicks go out. A DPS dies. They blame the healer, they leave, and you're back to square one. All your time wasted. It could have taken so long to get into that group, and that's an Alt F4 moment. You're gone and you don't want to come back. And of course the thing here is, you can't tell if your group's going to be successful. That's the root cause. Everybody who's played Mythic Plus has that scar. They've experienced doom.
Oh my god, it's the same thing as PvP, dude.
Runs that have ruined their evening and set them back. People don't want it to happen again, so of course people will only invite the best players using the data they have. What is somebody's spec? What is their item level? What is their score? Now those all sound readily solvable, but that's kind of the problem. We're stuck here chasing the first order problems, but it's actually the foundations that are rotting. Is that just doomer talk? Well, let's try to fix them and we'll learn why. Fixing it without changing, and I mean, hey, step one, just balance it, right? Stop making meta specs, Blizzard. That's a very silly thing to do. I mean, there's an issue there. It's always impossible. There's always going to be a spec that is the best. Blizzard could crush the skill ceiling, raise the skill floor, homogenize utility, homogenize damage profiles, but there's always going to be something that's a bit better, especially with Mythic Plus's endless scaling, and if they squish everything to be the same, the game will just be bland, man. And that's just the thing with endless scaling. At some point, no matter how Blizzard balances it, one spec will be necessary to counter the extremes of scaling. A perfect example, the racial imbalance. At the lower levels, healers can just crush it and heal through certain dots. But you know when actually players are pushing up to something crazy like a 16? Well, the dots start to almost kill in a single tick. So the solution is to race change to a dwarf, of course for stone form, which is an instant self-dispel. That makes the dungeon actually possible in that context. Not just easier, possible, because they hit that hard. Now obviously that's not necessary to Mythic Plus 7, but it does kind of help, doesn't it? And so it slowly becomes the meta, and even where it's absolutely not necessary, as a player just playing regular World of Warcraft, you're going to feel it. Blizzard could make the meta...
Bro, these are like PvP complaints with just certain words replaced? I know. I think Mythic Plus is having the same issues as PvP.
Less impactful, but there's always going to be a meta. Nobody solved it in gaming. As soon as people hit a wall, they will optimize who they invite. Step 2, let's just increase the amount of tanks and healers so that we get more runs happening. I mean, hey, if we bribe DPS to swap over, well, actually, we're bribing them. They won't have fun. So let's try to make the lives of support players a bit less hell. As an example.
That's actually something that's very applicable to PvP too. Because I'm always like, we need to just reward healers. Like, I sometimes I think to myself, we need to make it so, like, healing is a gold farm. But like at the end of the day, do you really want to play the game with people that don't even care? Like, you know what I mean? Do you want to play PvP with someone that logs on a healer? They don't like healing. They don't want to learn how to heal. They're just doing it to make gold. I don't know. I don't think that's a great solution. I think ideally you want people to play those roles.
Example, tanks. I mean, you guys bear all the responsibility to route the dungeon, pull the mobs, position the mobs, and you end up doing the lion's share of mob management. I mean, others could help, but you guys do it. Healers bear all the responsibility for health bars, so maybe let's fix that by lowering incoming damage, reducing dispels, scaling health bars, and tweaking mob packs. And you may think, great, that's fixed. But, not really. Do you remember this loading screen tip in the game? If you make it easier to keep your health bar above 0, but you don't change the difficulty of the dungeon, well, what are you going to do? You're going to have to make bringing the enemy's health bar down harder. And that's where the timer comes in. If tanks and healers end up having it easier, and DPS really is what defines a win or a loss, then, well, the DPS will need to do more damage. But how do you do more damage beyond that? Well, inevitably it leads to the tanks being forced to pull harder and harder, and that brings us back to square one. And if the game just was to say, no, if you pull 2 packs, you instantly die, that would be awful. So no matter what, with the current design, responsibility will always land on the shoulders of the tanks and the healers. That's just the way it is. Even if it's clearly, say, the DPS refusing to use their interrupts or their stuns. For as long as WoW's existed, death has been a healing problem.
Struggle with a tough foe. Remember, just keep your health above 0 while lowering your enemy's health to 0. It works every time.
And that's just how healers feel, and that's why there's not a lot of them in the queue. Step 3 then. Fix the group trust issue. Well, that's kind of hard because gets to the heart of a very long-running problem in World of Warcraft. You've probably seen this video from Folding Ideas that came out a while ago, and it highlights our main issues here. When you suck, you know, you're wasting people's time, and it doesn't help that Blizzard have designed Mythic Plus to double down on how much you've wasted people's time. I mean, there's the responsibility ratio. In a heroic raid, you can survive a few mistakes, but in a 5-man dungeon, oh, that's tight. You can't. There's only a few people. It's rude to suck in a Mythic raid, but it's much more rude to suck in a Mythic Plus. There's fewer people. Everybody's got more responsibility, and the penalty is way higher than just respawn and corpse run. And that brings me to the difficulty split. LFR is queued. You actually have guaranteed success. Normal is a step up, but it still is a cakewalk if you've got a few people who know the fight. Heroic, well, that does need more people to know the fight, but Mythic, well, that's an entirely different kettle of fish, right? Different game mode entirely.
Kettle of fish.
20 players, fixed, locked to a single ID. It is almost unpuggable. Most people therefore cap out at Heroic because they look at Mythic and they will instantly know if that...
You haven't been a big Bellular fan historically, but this is a very well analyzed video. I feel like in general he makes good videos. I like him.
Sort of gameplay is or is not for them. It's binary, you know. But not with Mythic Plus. It's the same system the whole way up. And this is where the problem starts. You finish gearing from delves or outdoor content, but your gear isn't finished. The game's reward system literally says, hey, oh, you can get 2 more upgrade levels if you just get some gilded crests. Where are you going to get those? A mythic raid? No, you're not going to be pugging those, especially if you're, say, a Delves player. That's how you're gearing your characters. And the goal of WoW is to get more gear, so what's going to happen? Raid or Mythic Plus? Raid's a bigger time commitment, but I suppose Heroic is reliably a puggable thing, so maybe with that done, you're left with the game pushing you into Mythic Plus, the only place to go. Even Ian has said in interviews that he knows the Delves are dropping hero-geared people into 6s and 7s from Delves, but they haven't worked their way up, and they really struggle. So maybe the issue isn't actually with Mythic Plus. Maybe it's that these people are doing Mythic Plus. They shouldn't be. WoW shouldn't put them there. So here's the deal. This is an excellent talk, one of many, from marketing legend Rory Sutherland. And one thing that stuck with me is how we so often get trapped.
I like this video.
We see a problem, we try to solve the problem directly, instead of imagining how to go around the problem or above the problem. Here's an example that he often uses: train journeys. Instead of trying to hyper-optimize the speed of the train journey by a few more minutes, how about you instead just try to make the journey a bit more pleasant? I mean, nobody's going to be absolutely mad if their commute is just a little smidge longer if the commute itself is a good experience. And the reason why this is important is because making a train go faster could cost hundreds of millions. In the UK, probably billions or trillions. And it's not going to guarantee success. It's an unknown engineering problem. But making the experience better, that's a way more known quantity. So let's bring it to Mythic Plus, lest you know, all start getting memories of Grimrail Depot. Instead of spending loads of time and effort balancing meta specs, and hey, do actually spend time to make the game balanced, obviously, but as we've talked about, that can never truly be fixed. Why not think outside the box? Here's what that kind of looks like. If inviting is a problem, instead of fixing the invites, skip the invites entirely. Make Mythic Plus a solo queue. That may seem insane, but there are natural breakpoints to cut that off. Maybe
solo queue? Okay. Interesting.
it's Mythic Plus 10 because that's where the affix has become fixed. Maybe you set up a rated queue from a +2 to a +10 because look, all that you need to know is, are the people I'm being mixed in with good at the game? Are they supposed to be here? Well, the matchmaking system can actually do that. If somebody is in your 10, you know they've at least timed a 9, and
I think that they should do that, to be honest with you. That seems so easy. It's like you just work your way up throughout the season. You do a dungeon on a 1, that unlocks the 2. You do a dungeon on a 2, that unlocks the 3. You do a dungeon on a 3, that unlocks the 4. It's like, that is the most obvious solution.
you're all going to have to get on with it anyway. Rather than an incentive for right-clicking, leaving party, hearthing away, and finding a new key, well, Blizzard could actually punish you by saying, you don't get into the queue, you're treating people badly. Maybe that begins to mend things. Now, the +12 and beyond, key-pushing meta-slave land that actually people love because it's fun to push things to the extreme. Well, that'll still exist. It'll be just like Mythic raiding is today, where if you're a heroic raider, yeah, you know, normal, LFR, normal through heroic, that's all one big curve. But Mythic, everybody knows it's a different kettle of fish. That doesn't happen in Mythic Plus. With a system like this, well, guess what? It actually would. You should make solo queuing the default way for PUG players. And what's vital is that the matchmaking is actually based on what the system knows people can do. You just need to design it well. So many other games have done this. Then there's the keys themselves. They've got to change. Maybe keys should just die, but for sure one thing needs to die, and that's depletion. What the hell is depletion? I mean, now the keys can manually be depleted.
What is this forum post?
Depletion. What the hell is depletion? I mean, now the keys...
Why is it still a thing? I've lost my 20 because someone DC'd in a very nice run. Guy didn't rage quit or left. Actually happened with his interrupt PC and my key was lost. Why can't I just restart my 20 keys? Who is depleting actually helping? I agree with this too. I think sometimes the system is too punishing. You know, like, yeah, like why I don't even get why you lose time when you die. You're going to inherently lose time by dying. I don't know why it has to make it like double down on how bad it is, you know?
Keys can manually be...
People would fake DC to save a key. I think that's okay though. I think the idea is if you get a key, you should be able to restart it. I don't know why not. That's what I think. Like, that would be fun for me. Like, you get a key, and then you can just try it over and over and over. You deplete it, the group doesn't just die, you can just try again. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Be depleted. It's just that last layer of punishment that is stubborn and almost a bit sadistic. No other part of WoW punishes you for failure by setting your progress back. I mean, maybe the corpse run's a bit bad, but come on.
No, I agree with this 100%. I don't know why they have to make it so miserable. Even when I used to Mythic Plus, I hated that. I wanted to just try the key again. You know, it's like, it's so annoying. Like, I'm playing Path of Exile right now. I do a boss, I die, I try it again. I do a boss, I die, I try it again. I die, I try it again. I die, I try it again. Imagine, I'm actually having a really annoying feeling in PoE. It's very similar to this, where I'm doing my Ascendancy quest. And in order to try the Ascendancy boss, I have to do the whole Ascendancy. And then when I die, I restart, and it's kind of annoying. You have to do all these levels. I like just trying the boss. Try the boss over and over and over and over. You know, it'd be really nice if keys were kind of like that too.
That's peanuts to depletion. Depletion sucks. Removing that would reduce how goddamn miserable it can feel to fail. And we've all seen people's comments online.
The title is so sensational. How about Mythic Plus is the saving grace for WoW? Here's a few things that need to be improved. This is YouTube, bro, dude. Like, this is YouTube. The fact is, the reason why creators use titles like this is because people click on it. Don't blame the creators. I mean, it's just, yeah.
World of Warcraft makes them anxious and unhappy so often, even though they actively want to play the game because they fundamentally like it and they want to achieve their goals. And we've got another issue too. Long queue times for tanks and healers. We could try to get creative with that. I mean, tanks and healers are responsible.
Okay, long queue times for tanks and healers. PvP, long queue times for healers. Let's see what he thinks.
For everything, while DPS are only responsible for their damage. How could we possibly rebalance this? Well, Blizzard kind of already knows how. They use Kiss Curse mechanics, and they can do that to make DPS players do things other than mash keys. Here's a great example. In Final Fantasy XIV, yeah, the other MMO, the devs saw the DPS players were just standing in the fire because, well, they could just get some more damage off and parse better. So to solve this, they added damage downs, as in, if you get hit, you'll do less damage, you'll get a debuff. And Blizzard, that's the point. You need—
Oh my god, that's so smart. All DPS care about is doing big damn. Imagine if standing in the fire made you do less damn. It's like a shock collar for a dog or something like that. I like that.
To align incentives with the desired behavior, because with damage downs, the mistakes of a DPS player will hurt their DPS, the thing that they care about, not only just their health, the thing that the healer cares about. And that means that it's the DPS player's problem, not just the healer's problem.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
And that aligns incentives within the group. I mean, perhaps if you don't have a defensive ability up for a certain boss, maybe it stuns you, maybe you get a haste decrease, and that means that, again, your incentives are aligned with your healer and your tank as a DPS player. So many specs already get tiny bonuses for interrupts. Why don't we take that and go radically further than ever before? Blizzard, the world is your oyster. You need to see outside of the prison you've locked yourself in, and you need to dare to try. But here's the thing, even that's not enough, because we all know what it's like when the worst happens, when you encounter one of those people, right? The people who know nothing, who deflect blame, who rage, the people that you could sort of say are the unteachables. Can we fix that?
It's on everyone on Reddit, basically. 99% of Reddit, unfortunately.
Teach them? I think the answer is no and yes, yes and no. You see, World of Warcraft is awful at teaching people how to succeed in Mythic Plus. The community, we all say it. But that's actually not new. Just about no competitive games really do that. There's no Valorant University in the game that's proper. Player improvement comes from what Folding Ideas as Dan Olsen rightly labels as paratext because of his delightfully wrinkly literary brain. Paratext is basically just external sources.
Max had a great take on just trying the key over again. A big reason most don't do Mythic is doing 100, 200 pulls to learn a boss. Doing the same key 10 times before you can complete it would suck too. I don't agree with downranking on depletion, but giving another key at the same level for a different variety. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I totally agree with that. I feel like if you're in a group and you have a key and you fail it, like everybody wants to do this key. Like everyone needs this key. They want to do this key. Like, yeah.
If somebody wants to learn Mythic Plus, they can. They'll be tuning into the Podyssey and the regular, just like how, yeah, you can find resources online and know, what do you buy in the shop in League of Legends? How does one even do a Valorant? The struggle, though, is that some people don't want to learn. Even if we laid out the resources, they wouldn't do it. So let's take another inspiration from Rory Sutherland and try to go around or above the problem. Maybe we'll even burrow beneath it. If our problem is that some people don't want to learn Mythic Plus, why would you bother trying to teach them? The solution is that people should not be playing Mythic Plus if they in no way really want to and couldn't be bothered to learn. Nobody benefits from them being there, including them. Ian said in a recent interview that they want to keep incentives for people to graduate to group content. Look, Ian, I respect you, not an attack. I think you're just holding on to some old wisdoms, and that's totally fair and okay because, I mean, goddamn, the same for me. World of Warcraft's an old game. It's been around for such a long time. How do we even know what's right or wrong anymore? I've got to admit that's probably what keeps the dev team actually up at night. But here's the thing. I think in the current gearing system, Delve scaling up to reward, I don't know, just shy of myth items from the vault, it could almost make perfect sense.
It should. I 100% agree. Delves, actually, the reason why I stopped playing Delves is because I could stop getting things from them. I think Delves should scale up. I do. I think delves should scale up. And if people would rather do delves, then they should do delves. That's how I feel. It's just like, yeah. You know, it's like a lot of people are like, we can't have solo shuffle in arena because if we do solo shuffle, then people aren't going to play threes. You're going to kill threes. It's like, well, okay. But what if like people just don't play, like people want to play shuffle and they just quit and they don't play threes, you know, like the thing that they like, there's no reason to like remove the thing that people are actually liking and enjoying and not reward it and stuff like that to force people to do content that they don't want, you know? I think it would be great, to be honest with you, if delves had more gear. I would actually play delves. I would love it if delves were more of a solo challenge and they scaled up and they had insane gear.
If you just let delves be really hard and have a proper progression track. I mean, yeah, it would be different, but delvers are going into Mythic Plus and they're absolutely hating it. And that's wreaking havoc in the people who actually like Mythic Plus. So let's let people achieve their goals by doing the content that they like. Let's nudge people up their comfort zone.
Don't glaze Bellular. He's barely an ahead of the curve player. I mean, his ideas are good. I mean, it doesn't matter how, like, what? I don't care if I don't know how Bellular plays, but I don't care if he's the worst player on earth. If he has good ideas, like, I can still agree with him.
Within delves, rather than trying to kick them out of their desire zone into Mythic Plus, lured by gear. That doesn't make sense. They'll never enjoy it. They'll never learn it, even if we put all the time and effort in the world into making resources. Let's not throw people into the deep end of content they don't like. Either that, or perhaps rework gear. Who knows? If the gearing system somehow offered a satisfying way for somebody to reach Mythic Plus 5, be happy with a dungeon as it is like that, and just feel that they could stop, that would be great. But that's not how WoW's gear is designed. And by now you'll have noticed a clear pattern. I'm not talking about, oh, this is what we need to do to evokers to fix the immediate problem. These are the big picture things, systems, incentives, not actually fixing Mythic Plus itself. Why am I not trying to fix Mythic Plus in a video about fixing Mythic Plus? Look, there's a reason for that. Mythic Plus is good. When it works, it really works. When you're in lockstep with a group of people, maybe a pug, probably not, but whatever, it pushes WoW's excellent combat and class design to the limits. There's nothing else like it. And personally, it's not for me. That's actually okay. It might not be for you either. World of Warcraft has got plenty of things for me to like say raids. I love raiding, I always have. So Blizzard, don't gut Mythic Plus or try to make some strange one-size-fits-all solution so that I can go and do it and gear up a character.
Said the sentence about not fixing Mythic Plus to fix Mythic Plus from the start makes sense? Yeah.
Don't damage delves to force people into Mythic earlier, right? Don't do that.
I love this video. I love this video. Great video.
We need to target the desire that causes the behavior that leads to the problem, that leads to all the symptoms that players feel. And to make Mythic Plus itself better, I know you guys listen to Max, Jack, Putty Seed, Dratnos, and friends, all of them. They're your guys to go to for the deep specifics. But perhaps before you hit those details, consider this. Tanks are kinda too weak and imbalanced. The difficulty curve is really steep. Races being or feeling mandatory is really dumb. Getting
I agree. That's for PvP too. I agree.
5 crests instead of 12 for a deplete is brutal. Depletes are brutal and stupid and needlessly sadistically punishing. People have already lost their time and not achieved their goal and not got as many crests. Some dungeons are fine, but others are a nightmare. There's a lot of difference there. But the number one complaint people have is other people ruining the experience for them. That's the number one problem. The number one reason why people can't actually play Mythic Plus when they want to. Because if you make the right changes, those problem players, the people who are just in Mythic Plus for gear without actually wanting to respect the game mode, so that even if you try to train them, they won't listen.
I love this video.
If the game lets them self-select out of the Mythic Plus player base, that will heal the ecosystem. People will slowly begin to have more understanding and willingness and faith that actually they can do a Mythic Plus and they won't get some random shithead who bricks their key and wastes their time. So Blizzard have an out here. Keep Mythic Plus as a beloved pillar of World of Warcraft endgame. Don't stress yourself in fixing its immediate problems, because if all of your effort goes there, we're not going to see the big picture. Think outside the box. See those problem players? You're not going to change them. It's not on you. You can't change them. You need to accept that. They're going to do what they enjoy. And that doesn't need to be your problem. That's your opportunity. Work out what they enjoy. Get them out of Mythic Plus. Okay, your game will be happier for it. Good luck. Ah, shit, that was so much. I don't even have a recommendation, so you know what? Just watch this next. It'll be great. Sure, go watch this.
That was a great video. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Bellular. I don't know why I'm not subbed. I watch his videos all the time. So there you go. Subscribe. Like the video. I'll link it here if you guys want to go check it out. I thought it was a great video. And I think a lot of that applies to PvP too. I think there's certain systems and philosophies in WoW that could definitely change for the better. You know, we had a long conversation in my stream today about, you know, how do you make healers play? Like, what is the best way to make it so we get more healers? Because one of the biggest issues in PvP right now is there's not healers for things like solo shuffle, right? So you have really, really long queue times. In fact, when I talk to people, one of the #1 reasons why they quit is queue times. Like, just really, really, really long queues. So, like, how do we get more people to heal? Is it like you just pay people gold and game time to heal? I don't think that actually fixes it. I'm becoming more and more convinced what you want is people that actually enjoy healing to want to heal. But you just have to change some of the things in the game so it's not so ridiculous. Like, you know, it's not so ridiculous to want to heal. Some decent points, but his giant word salad video boils down to is keep people out of Mythic Plus by pushing them into delves and to get top gear. No, he didn't just say that. He didn't just say that. I mean, I can recap the whole video if you want, but he was talking about things like solo queue, where you have like basically a scaling for the keys that you can get into. You know, instead of going from you've never done the dungeon to a +7, you have to do a 1, and then you do a 2, and then you do a 3. You have to slowly work your way up through the keys. So you know when you're queuing up for like a 7 that the person has done a 6. Things like that. You know, mechanics for a DPS that incentivizes them to make the healer's life a little bit easier, you know? Like, maybe as a mage, if you decurse, you get some damage. You know, that way it's worth it to decurse. You know what I mean? When I'm raiding Classic on my mage, and my raid leader's telling me I need a decurse, I don't want to, because I don't do enough dam. But if every time I decurse, I got 5% damage, and then I had like a big burst after, I would actually want to do it. You know, so things like that to make, you know, healing and tanking easier and kind of add some additional mechanics to DPS to make it more fun. You know, is another thing in the video. It's just good. I don't know. It's a good way of thinking about the game, I think, because I think a lot of the problems we have don't have super obvious solutions, and we might need to try some new things, you know, for the long-term health of the game. But yeah, anyways, if nothing else, great discussion. And like I said, I like the video a lot.